I heard Maya's voice before I understood the words. I had just stepped out of the bathroom when I caught her whispering in the dark hallway. At first, I thought she was talking to her sister, but then I heard her say, "I miss you too, but he's still awake." My chest tightened. Who? I stepped closer, quiet as possible. "Yeah," she whispered, "I'll see you tomorrow, just don't text me right now." My heart started pounding. I said softly, "Maya? Who are you talking to?" She jumped and turned around fast. "Oh, Ethan? You scared me. It's just Olivia. She's upset about something." "Really?" I asked, trying to read her face. "Yes," she said quickly. "Go to sleep. I'll come in a minute." I forced a nod. "All right, good night." When I walked back to the bedroom, my legs felt heavy. I lay down, but my mind wouldn't stop. When she finally came in, she said, "You still awake?" "No," I whispered. She giggled nervously. "You're talking, so you're awake." "I'm tired," I said. "Long day." She slid into bed beside me. "Well, sleep. You worked too hard." I wanted to ask, "Who were you saying I miss you to?" But instead, I kept quiet. I felt her shift closer, placing her hand on my chest. Usually her touch calmed me. Tonight it felt hollow. She said, "You're so cold. Something wrong?" "No," I answered. "Nothing's wrong." She sighed. "Okay, we'll talk tomorrow." I closed my eyes, trying to breathe slowly. She thought I was drifting to sleep, but my mind was racing. I replayed her words again and again. "I miss you too. Don't text me right now. He's still awake." I whispered to myself, "Who were you talking to, Maya?" She turned slightly. "Did you say something?" "No." She finally went quiet, but I couldn't. My heart felt like it was cracking, one slow piece at a time. I stared at the ceiling and asked quietly, "Why would you betray me?" I didn't realize I had spoken aloud until she asked again, "Ethan? What's going on with you tonight?" I swallowed hard. "Nothing. Just thinking." "About what?" she asked. "Life," I said. "Us." She laughed softly. "You always overthink. Sleep now." I didn't respond. She turned away from me, and I felt the bed shift slightly. The room fell silent, but inside me everything screamed. For the first time in years, lying right next to my wife, I felt completely alone. And the worst part wasn't the doubt. It was the feeling that somewhere deep down, I already knew the truth. Her phone buzzed twice on the counter while she showered. I glanced at the bathroom door, heard the water running, and told myself, "Don't touch it." But my hand moved anyway. I unlocked it easily. She never hid her password. The moment the screen lit up, I saw the name, Ryan Blake. My stomach dropped. "No, please no," I whispered. Another message popped up. "Ryan, last night was perfect." I felt my breath catch. I opened their chat. "Ryan, I couldn't stop thinking about you." "Maya, he was still awake when I got home." "Ryan, you should have stayed longer." My fingers shook as I scrolled. "Maya, I will next time. I promise." I whispered, "Why, Maya? Why him?" The bathroom door clicked. Panic shot through me. I locked the phone and set it exactly where it was. I stepped back just as she walked out wrapped in a towel. She smiled. "Hey, you're up early." "Yeah," I said, forcing my voice steady. "Just thinking." She laughed. "You always think too much." She picked up her phone casually, then looked at me again. "Everything okay?" "Fine," I said. "Just a weird morning." She tilted her head. "You look pale." "I'm good," I repeated. "Just tired." She shrugged and walked past me. "Get ready. We should leave soon." I watched her go, feeling like my body wasn't mine. When she stepped into the bedroom, I whispered, "How long has this been going on?" I heard her call out, "What did you say?" "Nothing," I replied. At breakfast, she scrolled her phone under the table. I asked, "Long day planned?" She nodded. "Meetings. Boring stuff." She didn't look up. "What about you?" "I'll figure it out," I said. She laughed lightly. "You sound strange today." "Do I?" I asked. "Yeah. Almost distant." I forced a smile. "I'm fine." Her phone buzzed again. She quickly flipped it over. I looked at her and said, "Who texted?" She froze for a second, then forced a casual tone. "Olivia. She needs help later." "Right," I said slowly. She grabbed her bag. I'll see you tonight, okay? Sure. When the door closed behind her, I sank into the chair and whispered, this can't be real. But the messages were burned into my eyes. Every lie. Every promise she made to him. Every moment she shared with someone who wasn't me. I wasn't angry yet. I wasn't ready to explode. I was just broken. But something deep inside me whispered the same sentence over and over. Don't react. Not yet. Not yet. Maya kissed me that morning like nothing had shattered the night before. Her lips brushed mine, and I forced myself not to flinch. You're quiet, she said, tilting her head. Everything okay? Yeah, I whispered. Just tired. Inside, my chest felt like it was filled with broken glass. She smiled. I made coffee. Come drink it with me? I nodded, pretending my hands weren't trembling. Sure. We sat at the table. She talked about weekend plans, laughing lightly, and I kept giving small answers, just enough to look normal. Sounds good, I murmured. We can figure it out. She didn't notice how my eyes kept drifting to the phone she used to betray me. When she leaned over and kissed my cheek, I almost recoiled. Love you, she said. Love you too, I replied, the lie slicing through me. On the drive to work, I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles burned. My brain replayed every second of what I had seen, her voice, her laughter with him, the betrayal wrapped around me like a suffocating fog. When I walked into the office, Logan stared at me. Dude, he said, you look dead inside. I'm fine, I muttered. No, you're not, he pressed. What happened? Nothing, I said, forcing a thin smile. Seriously. He frowned. You want to talk later? Not really. But he followed me to my desk anyway. You're pale, he said. You look like you didn't sleep. I slept. Liar. I sighed. Drop it, Logan. He raised his hands. All right, man. But if you're in trouble or something. I'm not. He looked at me for a moment before backing away. Okay. But you know I've got your back, right? Yeah, I said quietly. I know. The rest of the day felt like trying to breathe underwater. Everyone laughed, chatted, lived. Meanwhile I sat there pretending my world wasn't caving in. Every smile I forced felt like my skin was splitting. At lunch, Logan tried again. You're scaring me, man. I'm fine, I repeated. Just overloaded. He shook his head. No. You're hiding something. If only he knew. When I got home, Maya greeted me with a warm hug. Rough day? Little bit, I said. She kissed my neck. Come relax with me? I smiled, the practiced, empty mask I had perfected throughout the day. Yeah. Sure. Inside, I whispered to myself, keep pretending. Keep smiling. Keep breathing. Because that mask, the one I hated wearing, wasn't weakness. It was the first step toward the revenge she never saw coming. Come with me, Logan said, grabbing my arm before I could slip past his desk. I tried to shake him off, but he tightened his grip. Nope. You're talking. Now. I told you, I'm fine, I muttered. Bullshit, he said, dragging me into an empty meeting room and shutting the door. Sit. I didn't want to, but my legs gave up before my pride did. I slumped into the chair. He crossed his arms. Start talking. There's nothing to talk about. He leaned closer. Look at you. You're shaking. Your eyes are red. And you've been zoning out all morning. Something happened. Say it. His voice cracked something inside me. My throat tightened, and for a second, I couldn't breathe. Logan. I can't. You can, he said. And you will. The dam broke. I saw everything, I whispered. Every message. Every picture. Every lie. He didn't blink. Who? Maya and Ryan. Ryan. His jaw clenched. You're Ryan? I nodded, feeling the shame burn my skin. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I just kept hearing her voice, laughing with him. I thought. I don't know what I thought. Logan sat across from me, elbows on his knees. You're not going to pity yourself, right? I looked up, confused. He leaned in. Don't destroy yourself. Destroy them. The words didn't just hit me, they rearranged something in me. Destroy them? I repeated. Yes, he said. You're walking around like you're the one who cheated. You didn't do anything wrong. So stop acting like the victim. I swallowed hard. I don't even know where to start. That's why I'm here, he said. Let's dig. He pulled his laptop out, opening tabs faster than I could think. What's Ryan's last name again? I told him. All right, let's see what kind of parasite he is. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Dude. You're not going to believe this. What? He turned the screen to me. He works here. My heart slammed into my ribs. No. No way. Oh, it gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Logan scrolled. Department transfer, 4 months ago. Guess who approved it? My stomach dropped. Maya. He nodded slowly. She didn't just cheat, man. She planted him. She helped him get close to your position. I felt the room tilt. So I wasn't betrayed by accident. No, he said. This was strategic. I sat there, breathing unevenly, fists tightening with every second. I'm done crying, I said. Good, Logan replied. Now you rise. When Maya said, I'm meeting Olivia for coffee, something in her voice tilted wrong. I didn't react. I just nodded and said, all right, drive safe. But the moment she stepped out, I grabbed my keys and followed. I kept whispering to myself, please let me be wrong, just this once. But deep down, I already knew. When she parked near the old plaza, I stayed far enough not to be noticed but close enough to see her clearly. She kept looking at her phone, smiling like she was 17 again. I muttered, who are you smiling for, Maya? Because it's sure as hell not me anymore. Then he appeared. Ryan walked toward her with his hands in his pockets, grinning like he owned her. She lit up the second she saw him. I felt my chest twist. No, don't, I whispered. But she did. She ran into his arms. They laughed, leaning into each other like they had years of memories she never shared with me. I moved fast and hid behind a wide pillar, pressing my back against the cold concrete. My heart slammed so violently that I had to grab the pillar to steady myself. Stay quiet, stay calm, I told myself, even though I felt anything but calm. Their voices carried over. Ryan said, missed you. Maya giggled. I told him I was with Olivia. He didn't suspect a thing. Those words stabbed deeper than anything I'd read in the messages. Didn't suspect a thing. Like I was a fool. Like I was blind. Like I was optional. Then Ryan placed his hand on her cheek and kissed her forehead, soft, gentle, intimate. My fingers clenched around the pillar so hard it hurt. I whispered through gritted teeth, this is what I meant to you? This is what our marriage became. I peeked again. She adjusted his collar like she'd done with me 1,000 times before. He tucked her hair behind her ear like I used to. They stood there, perfectly aligned, perfectly comfortable, like they belonged, and I didn't. My breath turned sharp. My vision flickered. But something unexpected happened. I didn't break. I didn't crumble. Instead, I felt something inside me ignite, hot, sharp, alive. It wasn't heartbreak anymore. It wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was clarity. Cold, perfect clarity. I whispered, thank you. Now I'm done. Watching them together didn't destroy me. It freed me. Every illusion I'd held about my marriage shattered cleanly, leaving only truth behind. I stepped away from the pillar, feeling my heartbeat settle into something steady and dangerous. I'm not the weak husband anymore, I murmured. You both just signed your own ending. That moment didn't just hurt me. It transformed me. It sealed my revenge in my heart that I didn't scream. I didn't confront them. I didn't even breathe differently. Silence felt cleaner, sharper, than any explosion of anger ever could. When Maya walked in that evening, she smiled and said, hey, you're home early. I just nodded. She hung her purse and approached cautiously. Long day. Another nod. Her eyes narrowed. Are you mad at me? No, I said calmly. She blinked, confused. Then why are you so quiet? I'm tired, I replied. It was the only line I gave her all night. At dinner, she kept glancing at me, waiting for me to start a conversation. But I stayed still, chewing slowly, watching her without giving anything away. She finally asked, did something happen at work? No. So, something happened at home? No. She leaned back, frustrated. You're acting strange. I met her eyes for 1 second. Am I? The way she swallowed told me silence was working. She wasn't sure what I knew, but she knew something was shifting. Later that night, when she showered, I sat on the bed with her phone in my hands, not to read new messages, but to take screenshots of the old ones. Every picture, every line of text, every call. Click. 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 Evidence. When she came out with a towel around her hair, she said, "You're still awake." Couldn't sleep. She hesitated at the door. "Do you want to talk?" "No. Are we okay?" "For now." Her breath caught. "What does that mean?" "You'll figure it out." She opened her mouth but closed it again, uncertainty flickering across her face. She stepped back slowly, as if I was suddenly unfamiliar. The silence grew stronger. The next morning, she tried again. "Do you want breakfast?" "No." "Coffee?" "No." She sighed, annoyed and nervous. "You're being impossible." I shrugged. "Maybe." She watched me leave for work without kissing me, without smiling, just staring, trying to decode the quiet wall I'd built. At the office, Logan asked, "You say anything yet?" "No." He smirked. "Good. Let them sweat." "I already started gathering everything," I said. "Screenshots. Photos. Call logs. Locations." "Smart," he said. "Let them build their own coffin." That's exactly what I was doing. Ryan thought he was winning. Maya thought she was safe. But they had no idea I was building a cage around them, brick by silent brick. Silence became my weapon. And I used it with precision. When Daniel announced he was stepping down, the room went quiet. I felt a strange thrill inside me, something I hadn't felt in months. "Division head," Logan muttered under his breath. "They'll need someone strong." I nodded silently. Strong. That's what I had to become. After the meeting, I caught Ryan leaning against the wall, grinning. "Looks like my time is finally coming," he said. "Maya's already helping me prepare my pitch." I raised an eyebrow. "Really?" He smirked. "Yeah. Nothing can stop me now." I let him talk. Let him think he was winning. Later, I found Grace in her office. "Grace," I said, closing the door behind me. "Mind if I sit?" "Of course," she said, smiling faintly. "What's on your mind?" "I want your advice," I said. "About the upcoming division head position." She leaned back. "Are you serious?" "Yes. I want to be considered." She tilted her head. "You do great. Everyone respects you, especially Victor." I felt my pulse quicken. "Victor. Senior board member," she said. "He trusts you. He'll push your name if you handle this strategically." I nodded. That's what I plan to do. Over the next few days, I worked closely with both Grace and Victor. Every meeting, every discussion, every small suggestion I made, they listened. I offered ideas that sounded collaborative, humble, but also clever enough to highlight my leadership. One afternoon, Victor pulled me aside. "I'm impressed," he said. "You've got the respect of your team. I think the board will listen to you." "Thank you," I said quietly, feeling a surge of confidence. At lunch, Logan whispered, "Ryan thinks he's untouchable. You? You're about to take the lead." "I know," I said. "And he has no idea." When I saw Ryan pacing, muttering to Maya over the phone, I smiled under my breath. He didn't realize the board respected me more than him. He thought connections and charm would win. But this isn't about charm. It's about strategy. I started feeling it, the shift. The broken, tired version of me that cried in the dark? Gone. Every conversation, every subtle move, every strategic alliance I built was brick by brick reclaiming my power. By the end of the week, I could feel it. Board members whispering my name, subtly pushing my reputation higher. Ryan? He was already stumbling, thinking he controlled the narrative. I leaned back in my chair and whispered, "This is just the beginning." For the first time in months, I wasn't the weak husband. I wasn't the betrayed man. I was rising. And Ryan, he was about to fall that I built the trap slowly, calmly, the same way someone builds a puzzle, piece by piece until the final picture becomes impossible to ignore. Logan noticed the new energy in me. "You look like you're planning something dangerous," he said. I smirked. "Not dangerous. Smart." He leaned closer. "What are you doing?" "I'm letting Ryan hang himself," I whispered. He raised a brow. "How?" "By showing everyone who he really is." Ryan walked into the office later, bragging loudly. "Victor liked my pitch. I think I've got the position locked in." He laughed as if the world belonged to him. I just said, "Good for you." He grinned. "Try not to be jealous." Inside, I almost laughed. Jealous? No. I was preparing his fall. That afternoon, I went to Grace's office with a stack of documents. Hey, I'm dropping off some reports, I said casually. She nodded. Leave them on the desk. I placed them down, making sure the folder I wanted her to find sat right on top. Inside were records of Ryan's hidden mistakes, contracts he mishandled, deadlines he missed, complaints filed against him, and the internal note he thought he deleted where he blamed his entire team for his own errors. None of it was made up. I didn't need to lie. Ryan had already written his own ruin. As I stepped out, Grace called after me. Ethan? Yeah? This top file, did you mean to include it? I gave a small shrug. Oh. Maybe I mixed it by mistake. But you can take a look if you want. Her eyes narrowed as she opened it. These are serious issues. Then maybe the board should see them, I said softly. By the next morning, everything sped up. Grace met me in the hallway. Victor asked for you, she said. He wants to discuss something important. I walked into the conference room, and Victor gave me a firm nod. Ethan, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I didn't want to cause trouble, I said calmly. I just didn't want the company harmed. Exactly why we value you, Victor replied. Minutes later, I watched Ryan storm into the building, red-faced. He slammed his bag onto his desk. Someone exposed my files, he shouted. I walked up slowly. Everything okay? He glared at me. You know something, don't you? Me? I asked. I've just been working. He clenched his jaw so hard I thought he'd crack a tooth. This isn't over. I smiled. You're right. It's just starting. When he walked away, Logan whispered, your trap closed perfectly. My revenge doesn't need noise, I said. It just needs precision. Cold. Strategic. Unstoppable. She didn't sleep that night. I could hear her pacing through the living room, whispering to herself. Why is Ryan being targeted? She asked, almost to the air. I didn't answer. I sat in the corner, quietly watching, feeling nothing. No guilt. No pity. Not even a flicker of remorse. She muttered again, pacing faster. This doesn't make sense, everything was going perfectly. Why now? I sipped my coffee slowly, letting her panic fill the room. She didn't notice me. That was the point. Ethan, she finally asked, stopping in front of me. Can you help me understand? I shook my head. I don't know. Her eyes widened. You can't know? Ethan, please. You have to. No, I said. I don't have to do anything for you. Her lips trembled. I just... Stop, I interrupted. Stop begging. She backed away, eyes glistening. I didn't think it would get like this. I leaned back, watching her crumble. You made your choice, I said quietly. You chose him over me. She covered her face with her hands and sank to the couch. I didn't mean. You didn't mean what? I asked. To betray me? To lie? To ruin us? Her voice broke. I didn't know how else to. Don't, I said. Don't explain. Don't apologize. Nothing matters anymore. For the first time, she seemed genuinely afraid. I could see it in the way her hands shook, the way she kept glancing at me as if I might explode. She approached me again later, hesitating. Ethan, are you leaving me? I didn't answer. I just stared at her, letting the silence stretch. Her lips quivered. Please, talk to me. I have nothing to say, I said. You had your chance. She sank to the floor, panic filling her movements, her voice rising and falling in desperation. I can fix this. I'll do anything. I stayed silent. Watching her desperate was strange, almost surreal. The woman who betrayed me, once so confident, now trembling at the edge of her own undoing. And I realized something. This was only the beginning. Her fear, her panic, her helplessness, this was the first taste of justice. I whispered quietly to myself, letting her hear nothing. You wanted him, you chose him. Now feel what that really costs. She shivered, rocking back and forth, and I finally smiled, not a warm one, but a cold, deliberate one. The game had changed. And I held all the cards. The boardroom was tense. I could feel the eyes of every member on me, but I didn't flinch. I knew what was coming, and so did Ryan, though he didn't suspect the full weight of it. Victor cleared his throat. Let's review the files brought forward regarding recent departmental errors. Ryan shifted in his seat, looking confident at first. I assure you, any mistakes were documented. Grace interrupted, her voice calm but firm. Every failure, every missed deadline, every mismanaged project has been verified. Ryan's smirk faltered. That's not exactly. Victor's gaze pierced him. You are a risk to the company, Ryan. These records confirm repeated negligence. He tried to speak faster, to blame others. Well, the team. Your team followed your leadership, I cut in softly. Your decisions were yours alone. Responsibility lies with you. Ryan's face turned pale. Ethan, this is unfair. I leaned back slightly. No. It's the consequence of choices you made, the lies you hid, and the arrogance you displayed. Maya shifted in her seat, nervously clutching her notes. She avoided my gaze. Victor nodded. The board has reached a decision. Ryan Blake is terminated immediately. The words hit him like a hammer. He looked around, disbelief written across his face. You can't do this. I've worked here. You've worked for yourself, I said, quiet, precise. Not for anyone else. He finally realized what had happened. My name was being floated for the position he wanted. His jaw tightened. You're taking it. I am, I said. And I'll do it well. He rose, his chair scraping the floor. Maya will always choose me, he hissed, more to himself than anyone else. I leaned slightly forward, close enough for him to hear. Let's see. He froze, blinking at me. For a second, there was that old arrogance, that old certainty, but it crumbled as he glanced around at the board. Their faces were neutral, but firm. There was no room left for excuses. He turned and walked toward the door, shoulders slumped, pride gone. Every step was slow, heavy, a rhythm of failure echoing in the room. When the door clicked behind him, I exhaled quietly. The tension in the room eased. I looked at Victor and Grace. They nodded subtly, acknowledgement, approval, trust. I felt a surge of power and clarity. Ryan had lost everything, position, respect, influence. But I didn't smile. Not fully. His downfall was complete. Mine wasn't. There were still moves to make, plans to solidify, and revenge to finish. I straightened my tie and whispered to myself, almost reverently, this is only the beginning. And the room, finally, belonged to me. I waited until the house was quiet. The lights dimmed, the city outside humming softly. Maya didn't suspect anything. She never did anymore. I held the folder in my hands, screenshots, photos, call logs, every proof she thought she'd hidden. She walked into the living room, smiling faintly. Ethan, can we? I stopped her with a calm, measured tone. Sit. Her eyes flickered nervously. What is this? I placed the folder on the coffee table. Everything. Her smile faltered. Everything what? I opened the folder and let her see the messages, Ryan's name, the photos of them together, evidence of meetings she had lied about. Her legs gave out. She sank to the floor. Ethan, she stammered. You said you loved me, I said softly. You said we had a life together. I never meant to hurt you, she cried, grabbing my shirt. I didn't mean. You didn't destroy our marriage, I said, steady, precise. You destroyed yourself. Her hands shook, loosening on my shirt. It's Ryan's fault. He made me do it. I shook my head. No. You chose him. You made it all happen. She tried another angle. Maybe you pushed me away. Maybe if you. Stop. My voice was quiet but unyielding. You've had every opportunity to choose differently. You didn't. Her face turned pale. Ethan. Please. Don't ruin me. I sat down across from her, keeping my expression neutral. It's already too late. She gasped, covering her mouth. A divorce? You can't, not now. Yes. I want a divorce, I said firmly. No arguments, no pleading. Just the truth. You wanted this life with him. Now you live with the consequences. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I didn't realize. I never thought it would come to this. I warned you, I said. But warnings don't matter when someone refuses to see the truth. She shook her head violently. You can't just take everything from me. You already lost everything that mattered, I said. Your trust, your position, your choices, they all led here. And now I walk away with clarity, strength, and freedom. She collapsed further, sobbing uncontrollably. Please? I'll do anything, anything. I stood, closing the folder, careful and deliberate. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can say. It's over. And with that, I walked out of the room, leaving her trembling on the floor, the woman who once held my heart now powerless, finally tasting the consequences of her own betrayal. The moment the divorce filing was final, everything began to crumble for Maya. She walked into the office the next morning, trying to smile, but the whispers started immediately. I could see the way people glanced at her, eyes sharp with judgment. Have you seen Maya? Someone asked under their breath. Everything's falling apart for her. I stayed quiet, walking past her desk, holding my head high. She avoided my gaze, shuffling papers nervously. Olivia stopped supporting her completely. I can't be part of this, she said flatly. I've made my choice. Maya's lips quivered. Olivia, please? I need you. Olivia shook her head. I'm done. Rachel confronted her later, voice low but cutting. You burned bridges, Maya. You think charm can fix this? It can't. She stumbled back. I didn't. You should have thought about that before, Rachel said, leaving her speechless in the hallway. Even Noah, my quiet neighbor, stopped me one afternoon. Ethan, you really deserved better, he said gently. I nodded, understanding the weight of what he meant. I hadn't planned to destroy her life. I hadn't wanted to. But she had done that herself, choosing Ryan over me, hiding, lying, betraying. I simply stopped shielding her from the consequences. At the office, the board meeting confirmed my new role. Division head. The position Ryan had fought for, the one Maya had tried to manipulate behind my back, was finally mine. Victor smiled. Congratulations, Ethan. Well earned. Grace nodded, approving. You've handled everything with precision. Respect earned is respect deserved. I took the seat that Ryan once assumed was his right. My hands rested on the desk, feeling the power settle in. It wasn't arrogance, it was justice served by my own hands and careful restraint. I thought of Maya's face the first time she realized she couldn't charm her way back into my life. Her social circle vanished, her job stability shaken, her pride shattered. Every person she once counted on distanced themselves. And I didn't need to lift a finger for it to happen. I wasn't gloating. I was simply standing where she had once believed I'd never reach. Everything she valued, love, stability, respect, had crumbled. And I stood firmly, a silent reminder that betrayal has consequences. I whispered to myself, quietly, without malice, this isn't revenge. This is reality. You made your choices, Maya. And I simply stepped into mine. The office was quiet, but inside me, clarity burned brighter than ever. I had risen. I had won, not through chaos, but through calculated, unwavering resolve. The office was silent, except for the soft hum of the air conditioning and the occasional click of my keyboard. I leaned back in my chair and looked around. Everything was in place, my desk, my nameplate, the window showing the city below. But I didn't feel triumph. I thought I would. I thought I would feel victorious, satisfied, maybe even smug. But instead, I felt peace. Logan popped his head in. You okay? He asked. I smiled faintly. More than okay. He grinned. You've done it. Ryan's out. Maya, well, she's learning the hard way. I didn't need to do anything, I said. She did it herself. He nodded. Still, it had to feel good. I shrugged. Not really. It's not about her. It's about me. Later, my phone buzzed. A message from Maya. I didn't open it. Another one. Please, can we meet? I need to talk. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I had nothing to gain from her words, nothing to prove. Her regret was hers to carry. I stood and walked to the window, looking down at the streets below. The city moved, people rushing to their own battles, unaware of mine. And I realized something. This wasn't revenge. This was clarity. I hadn't destroyed her. I hadn't ruined her life. I had destroyed the version of myself who once let people walk over me, betray me, and leave me broken. I had taken control of my life. My career. My mind. My emotions. And that was victory. Logan appeared again. You think she'll ever realize? I shook my head. Maybe. But it doesn't matter. The lesson is mine. I'm not the same man who cried in silence, who trusted blindly. I've learned. I've grown. He clapped me on the shoulder. Proud of you, man. I smiled for real this time, a calm, steady smile. Thanks. That's all that matters. No one could break me now. No betrayal, no lies, no manipulation. I turned to my desk, picked up a photo of my early days at the company, the man I used to be. I studied him, then set it down. I'm done being that man, I whispered. And for the first time in years, I felt complete. The office was quiet, my heart steady, my mind sharp. My revenge had run its course. But my real victory, my transformation, was just beginning. I was free. And I would never be broken again.